Hey guys, so this is Nirmal here for Technique, and today we are going to compare the Moto E with the ASUS Zenfone 4. So both are entry level budget oriented phones, and which have both of them have created an impact in the market. So Moto E was released in May, and the ASUS Zenfone 4 came out this month, and we have done the review of both the devices. So both are entry level devices with almost similar specs. So let's quickly look at which is better in terms of the display, the build quality, the performance, the camera, gaming performance, as well as the battery life, and we'll decide which is better of the two. If you take the design and build quality, both the devices are unique in their design and comes with a pretty great build quality. The ASUS Zenfone 4 is slightly slimmer and also lighter in weight when compared to the Moto E, while we would say the overall build quality aspect of Moto E is slightly better than the ASUS Zenfone 4. Both of these come with matte finish back panels and the rear camera. There is no flash included on both the devices. And the front, you can see here that there is a 4-inch display on the ASUS Zenfone 4 and a 4.3-inch display on the Moto E. So overall, in the design and build quality aspect, we would say that Moto E has a slight edge over the ASUS Zenfone 4. Now talking about the display, the Moto E comes with a QHD display, that is 960 by 540 pixels. On the 4.3-inch screen, and on ASUS Zenfone 4 you have a 4-inch WBGA display, that's 800 by 480 pixels. So you can clearly see that the pixel count and the display resolution is better on the Moto E, and you can clearly see that from the display itself. So the ASUS Zenfone 4 display is highly reflective and may not be really great to use on in sunlight, and also the readability, you can see the readability is much better on the Moto E. So the WVGA display on the ASUS Zenfone 4 isn't that great, but it's not bad either. It's pretty decent for this price point, even though it does not beat Moto E here. So in the display aspect, we would pick Moto E to be the winner. Now let's talk about the software and the performance aspect. For this we'll first talk on the Moto E. So Moto E comes with Android 4.4 KitKat out of the box, and the UI is mostly the stock Android, and there isn't much customization with respect to the UI, and it looks more or less like the core Android. And Motorola has added a few apps like the Moto Assist, the Moto Migrate, and a few other apps to help users migrate from other smartphones. So this is powered by 1.2 GHz dual-core Snapdragon processor with 1 GB of RAM and 4 GB internal storage. So overall the performance is pretty decent on this device, and you won't have much issues with this device in terms of performance, but you might see slight lag here and there when you switch apps or quickly take a few apps. That's understandable because it's an entry-level phone with just a dual-core processor. One major issue with the Moto E is that the limited storage. Since it runs Android 4.4 KitKat, you will not be able to transfer all the apps to the SD card, and the 4 GB internal storage which comes with this device might fall short, because out of the 4 GB, around 2 GB or so is available, and if you install huge games, you'll run out of storage. So gaming performance may not be that great on this device, because you'll not be able to install too many games, and the phone will say that you are running out of storage, and you'll not be able to install not too many apps. So that's one major issue with the Moto E. Having said that, overall this is a pretty good device, entry level device in this price point. Now let's see how ASUS Zenfone 4 performs. So ASUS Zenfone 4 again comes with the Intel dual core processor, which has a better performance than the Snapdragon processor, and the UI is it's really customizable. That's one great thing about the ASUS Zenfone 4. You have lots of customization options, and these customization options never take a toll on the performance. That's really good, great job from ASUS. And you can see here there are quite a lot of features included along with the UI, although it runs only Android 4.3 Jelly Bean, and ASUS has already announced that it will be upgradable to 4.4 KitKat pretty soon. So overall the UI wise there isn't any lag, the performance is pretty fast, and one great advantage of this device is that it comes with 8 GB of internal storage. So you might be able to install more games on this device than the Moto E. So in software and performance aspect, even though the Moto E comes with Android 4.4 KitKat, we would say that the ASUS Zenfone 4 performs better in terms of lots of areas like the overall performance, the gaming, the storage, and the performance of the Intel's dual-core processor. Now talking about the camera, both these devices come with 5 megapixel camera, and both of these does not have a flash included. Now ASUS Zenfone 4 comes with a front facing camera. That's pretty handy if you want to do video calls or take selfies, which is missing on the Moto E. Now the camera on the ASUS Zenfone 4 is an autofocus one, while on the Moto E you have the fixed focus thing, which is pretty annoying if you want to take macro shots. So you won't get pretty good decent shots if you're using the fixed focus. The UI aspect, you can see that the Zenfone offers lots of features. Then you have lots of modes as well, and the UI also looks refreshing on the ASUS Zenfone 4. While on the Moto E it's pretty simple and you don't see too many options except for HDR and panorama mode. But in you can see in ASUS you have quite a lot of options, and it can also record 1080p videos. Even though the quality is not that great. So overall the camera performance, we already done a comparison video on the shots taken using these two phones. So it's a mixed bag on ASUS Zenfone 4. While it took pretty decent macro shots, the normal daylight shots were not that great, but on the Moto E the macro shots are totally washed out because of the lack of autofocus, and the daylight photos are pretty decent as well. And if you take about the low light photography, both the devices are just average, and Moto E does not fare well here, while ASUS Zenfone 4 is slightly better than the Moto E here. So overall we would say the ASUS Zenfone 4 has a better camera than the Moto E, although both the cameras are just below average cameras for this price point. Now let's talk about the battery life on both the devices. So the ASUS Zenfone 4 comes with a slightly lower battery capacity than the Moto E. And apart from that, the Moto E comes with Android 4.4 KitKat, and the battery performance is really better than the ASUS Zenfone 4. One of the main issues with ASUS Zenfone 4 has been the battery life, and we expect the ASUS to fix up these issues when they release a KitKat update for the device. So overall in the battery aspect, right now the Moto E is the winner with better battery life. So summing up, both the devices are pretty good in this price point. And if you talk about the design and the display aspect, the Moto E wins. And if you talk about the software, the camera, and the overall experience, we would say the ASUS Zenfone 4 wins. And in terms of battery, again the Moto E wins with better performance than the ASUS Zenfone 4. So that's all guys, with a quick comparison of the ASUS Zenfone 4 with the Moto E. So if you have any specific queries, drop a comment and we'll be glad to help you out with your queries. If you like this video, do hit the like button, subscribe to YouTube channel for more updates, and thanks for watching this video.